This is my beloved Canadian National 482 Steam Train, affectionately known as Bullet Nose Betty. In fact, I love it so much, I bought another one. Today I'm going to add a DCC decoder to one of them, and then at the end of the video I'm going to give it away. After all, do we really need two of these? Hello YouTubes, make sure you watch to the end to find out where this is going and why. Right, let's get started in this DCC decoder conversion. This will be the first steam train I have attempted this conversion on. Hopefully not the last. So the first thing I have to do obviously is get the tender apart, because that's just going to get in the way. Let's get it in here. There's lots of little bits on this steam train I do not want to break. It's got one of these little bits of tubing holding the, whatever that wee bar's called. I'm so technical, me. Let's put that somewhere safe. Alright, we can remove the tender. It does have a little plug that I need to undo. I've not quite figured out how I'm going to wire the decoder up yet. I've got a rough idea. I think there's a little catch in this plug somewhere. You know what, I'm just going to snip these wires for now. I'm being so careful not to break them that I'm not actually getting the job done. Right, let's have a look at this plug. Well, that was horrible. So obviously I'm going to have to dissect that. You know what, I might do away with this plug because it does have a tendency to foul up on the loco when it's going round a bend. Now, the person that this is going to has got fairly wide bends, so I don't think it would be a problem. But that does sit really close, and that plug sticks the way out, so I might just hardwire that to those little prongs. Anyway, least of my worries. What we have to do now is get this apart. I've not removed anything on this before, but straight off I can see there's a screw there. Let's see what happens when we remove that screw there. Does it magically just come off? Nope. That would have been expecting too much. I was hoping that there would be maybe just this screw holding the top shell on and then maybe a hook at the front. Now, let's remove some more screws from the underside. So I think those screws are holding in this cover over the wheels. There's two screws there. Let's try removing those two. I need a Phillips because they don't believe in consistency. Right, is it going to come off now? Oh, okay, so that's bringing this off. Looks like we need to remove more. There's another screw down there, which may or may not release it, but we'll take it out anyway. And I will probably have to consult this video before I reinstall everything so I can remember where it all goes. So that's the screw down there that I'm removing underneath that front bogie. And it does have a washer on it, so we'll keep them together. Like so. Alright, it's coming apart yet? Nope. Oh, yep. Right, let's bring this out. I think the only thing holding it in is the wires at the back. And there's wires at the front as well, going up to the light. So I think we'll probably need to remove the nose piece there just to disconnect the headlight bulb. It seems to just pop in. And those clever little handrails are not actually, oh goodness, wonder if they pop out of there. Otherwise they're going to get bent when I remove this. That doesn't seem to want to come out. Oh well, let's try it. Tell you what might, oh I know what we could do. If we bring it out far enough, then the little holders for the wire might slide down like that. There we go. And then we can disconnect the bulb, or at least pull the bulb out of its little holder there. Like so, put that somewhere safe. And then we can feed that down through there. So that's the front. It's going to release now. But you do need to feed this wire all the way down. It's just getting jammed against this metal weight. This is going to be so much fun to put back together. I need to somehow get these wires to the front of that part of the weight, because it's just getting fouled on the sides at the moment. One round there. That one there needs to go to the front. This is not fun at all. Because I'm also fighting against the back with that wire. That seems to be coming out not too bad, although I'm sure there was two wires. Oh, one of them's down here, so I need to figure out where that goes back on. See, I don't actually mind doing things like this, because at least once it's apart, you get to see how to put it back together again. If you make a nice video like this, you know, otherwise you're stuffed. I've just got one last wire slowing me down. There we go. So for some reason, those two wires there were at the back side of that weight, and they were jamming at the edges. Anyway, I can slide the weight back, pull the wire out, finally free. Oh, that was nasty. Good. Here we go. This is really light without the body on it, obviously, because all the weight's in the body. Now we need to figure out how we're going to wire up the decoder and where we're going to hide it, because there's not a lot of room in there. I think the only place really is going to be on top of the motor. Even then, I think the motor sits right up there. We could put the decoder in the tender, but that would mean running all the pickup wires through to the back and then wires coming back again to the motor. I'd rather not do that. So let me have a good look at this, see what I can come up with for where we're going to hide the decoder. So, done a bit of research, and I have concluded that this decoder chip that I was going to install isn't going to work. There's really nowhere to put this in here. It's, even though it's tiny, it's still, if I put it in there, which would be the only spot, it's still going to hit off the top of the motor. However, at the last train show, I did manage to snag one of these, which is obviously designed for N gauge, but it does say fits many Z, N and HO scale, and it does have the same operating functions as the DH126 that I was going to use, which is ideal because look, it is tiny, so that should easily fit in the roof. Other investigation revealed, when I was looking in the tender, I took that apart just to familiarise myself with the wiring, because I'm just going to hardwire the two wires here going to the loco. Now because there's two, that means it's picking up power from both sides of the trucks, which is ideal, but there is a little light and a resistor in the back. Now what I've discovered, I put this onto the track, and when it's running DC, the back light, which is white, it stays on all the time, which is absolutely fine. I don't mind that at all. Don't know why that, oh, that ladder's supposed to go in there. It's all very finicky. So I just need to remember that the left side of the track, which would be this wire here, connects to the left pin, but that's just for my reference sake, so it's on video. And that will make it a lot neater because it will just be two tiny little black wires going from the loco to the tender itself. So on to the next step, installing my tiny decoder. It's so small I've lost it. Oh, it's over there. Installing this, and I'll probably just glue that to the top of the motor. A bit of hot glue, it'll be fine. Right, let me make sure, remember where all the wires go, and we'll get into that stage next. Okay, I've checked the wiring on this little decoder. It's exactly the same as every other decoder that I've installed so far. So basically, the power coming into the decoder is the black and the red. So that will be the left and right hand side of the rails. And then the power from the decoder to the motor is the grey and the orange. So that's those 4 wires taken care of. Remaining 3 wires. You have your blue, which is the common positive for the headlights, front and back. And the yellow is the rear negative, the white is the front negative. I won't be using the yellow one because obviously it's a steam train and it doesn't really have a backlight. So that's really just the positive blue, negative white. So let us start by hot gluing this little decoder onto the top of my motor. And I really hope I've got room because I can't think anywhere else I can put it. Good thing about hot glue is I can just heat it up again and remove it if I don't like it. And it only needs a tiny wee spot because it's such a small decoder. Put that one there. I think it's a bit flatter on that side, so squidge that down there. And I think what I'll do before I go mad with all the wiring is I'll maybe tuck that along here and then try the shell. Try the body on, make sure it fits before we start going mad with wiring. But to be honest, I can't see anywhere else this could go. Either side of the motor comes down that side of it, so I can't put it in there. I don't want to put the decoder in this area because it might foul up the drive gear. And I think this section here is all just filled with weights. So this is my only option. Right, that's cooled. Let's see if we can cram this body on, make sure it closes down. I'll just tuck these wires around for now. In you go. Doesn't need to be neat, it just needs to make sure it's fitting at the moment. Yes, that's going to work just fine, I believe. Yep, we're good there. Okay, we can continue then. For the headlight, unfortunately, as you can see, the headlight wires are both black, so I'm not actually sure which is the right one. So what I'll do is I'll quickly desolder these. I'm not going to be soldering them back on there anyway. And I will nip over to the track, find out which is the positive of those wires, put a little red mark on it because the positive of one of these is going to be going to the blue wire. And obviously the other one's a negative, which will go to the white for the headlight. And I'm just going to keep the incandescent bulb. I just think an LED in this would look kind of goofy. So back in a second when I've distinguished which wire is which. What am I talking about? I can just do it with this 9-volt battery. So, positive. Oh, what am I talking about? It doesn't matter. This is an incandescent bulb. It'll work either way. As you can see, it's working both way around. I'm so used to LEDs, I forgot about the whole incandescent thing. So it doesn't matter which way around we wire this. Excellent, well that's quite good. I will twist them back up again. It keeps it nice and neat and easy to feed through the nose of the loco. Okay, we will do that last. Let's get on with how on earth we're going to wire up this motor. So what we're going to do is we're going to intercept the signal coming from the tracks. So the left pickup is there and there. I thought it was all the wheels, but it's just those two and those two. And that is the wire for it at this side, okay, which goes in there. So we are going to desolder that. And this wire here is for the left side of the tender pickups. What I think I'll do actually is, I think I'll remove the motor to do this. I really don't want to damage this. I'm trying to be more careful in my old age. So we just need to unscrew this little screw here. Hot glue everywhere. Unscrew that one. Always handy to have some tweezers handy. Pull you out there. Motor comes away. Probably brings the drive shaft with it. Okay, so we can desolder that. I wonder if that comes off. Yeah, that'll come off as well. Gives us even more room. Right, let's get those wires off. And this will be, in my case, the left side of the track. And that one's the right. Now that I've got the decoder on top, it's fairly obvious which way around the motor is going to go back in. Let's get you off. Lovely. Okay then, so we have our left pickup, and we should have that other wire, which was going, oh, it's still attached. Now what I'm going to do is, I need to make a longer wire, because this wire here for the tender needs to be about that long. Well, let's see. It needs to be at least twice as long. So I think I could even just, let's add a new bit of wire to here. Yeah, let's do that. Snip you there, because that's the right length to get to the motor, although it's not going to the motor anymore. It's going to be going to the decoder, which sits on the top. So this section of wire either can get shortened right down, or I can shorten the decoder wire right down. But it does need to be joined on to another wire going to the tender, so let me do that first. Right, I need another little black wire. So I couldn't find a nice fine black wire. However, I'm not going to be using all of this, because this black wire will be going to this pickup, so it only needs to be about that long. Yeah, let's do that, because the connection from this side of the motor will be going to the grey wire, which also can be nice and short. Okay, so we can snip this here, and we can use this little black wire to go all the way to the tender. Excellent, no wastage in this game. I'll just turn that up. Make sure your solder's clean before you start your jobs. Lovely. That bit solder. Get you tinned up. So this one is going to get joined on to this one here, and then get joined on to there. I think I'll find a little bit of heat shrink tubing for this part, just to keep it all nice and neat. Yes, let's do that. And I'm going to join it onto this bit here. Right, I'm going to twist these together. Or not. Solder that together. And that's going to get joined onto there. Although it can be a fair bit shorter than that. Too much wire sticking out the end. A little bit of heat shrink over the top. Remember folks, do this before you solder. Right, we can solder that together now. Heat shrink over the top. Shrinky that down. So that is our power pickup from the left track. Comes along here from the loco. That will come from the tender. It goes into the black wire of the decoder. Okay, good stuff. Let's do the same for the red wire, which will be collecting the power from the right hand side of the track. And obviously I need to do another wire like this one, but I'm going to keep them both black this time, just so that we don't have this horrible wire going between the loco and the tender. So that can be about that length there. Doesn't need to be long. This does get tucked underneath and then come up the side, so yeah, that should be fine about there. Need to find another bit of black wire now. I'll be joining that the same way I joined that one. So back in a sec when I've got that one wired together. So now we have left side pickups going up to the black wire into the decoder. Right side pickups coming along here, going into the red wire of the decoder. And they've both got a feed going off towards the tender for, again, the right rail on the tender and the left rail on the tender. So that's them sorted. Now we can wire up our motor, which is the grey and the orange. So the orange is kind of close in colour to the red. That's how you distinguish that, I suppose. So this little orange wire is just going to go to there. And the little grey wire is just going to go down to there. Don't need that in there for now. So I can cut this nice and short, like very short. Strip that down. Oh, my strippers, not fine enough for this. Need to be gentle. But that's okay, still plenty of bare wire there. Tin that while I remember. Same with the grey. It can also be quite short, I believe. Why am I putting it back in? It has to go down to there. So again, nice and short. Be gentle with my gigantic strippers. There. Bit of flux, oh goodness. Or half a jar of flux. You know what? I think there's only one strand of wire there. I need to go down a wee bit more. Not happy with that. I mean, it shouldn't be moving about much, but that's better. Got at least 3 strands of wire there. Now we can solder them onto the motor. So orange to this side. It moved. It only just needs a little dab. Let's get that off again, since that's not where I want it. You know what, if I just bend that wire down a little bit so that it's resting in the right place when I push it down, like so. That's the orange one on. Let's get the grey one on. Like so. And now, when I put this back in, we're actually good to go. I mean, not completely good to go. Still got the lights to do and the tender wires, but this should work. So let me plonk this back in its home. Pick up wires at either side of that bracket. Drive shaft in first. Hook that down there. That slots down there. And we put this little thing in. I can't remember which way round this went. That way, because that's where the screw goes down. That goes on over that. Circle at the back and screw that down there with the screw, which is... Where's the screw? Did I put it away? Am I that clever? Oh, I can't remember which one it was. Was it this one? Well, let me take this out for a second because I need to see if it's a screwed hole. Not screwed, a threaded, because that is... No, that's plastic, so it's not that one. Maybe it's just this one. That one is the same as that one. Nah, whatever. We'll try it. I'll probably be taking that apart again anyway. Although, if all goes well, I shouldn't have to take it apart again. Drive shaft in. Pick up wires either side. Brackets on. Let's get this wee screw in. I will check my video back just to make sure I'm not missing a... Aha! There's a little hex nut at the bottom, so it has got to be a threaded one. Which means we're missing a screw. I was being so careful as well. That one's too big, that one's the same. Let me hunt for that screw, back in a sec. Okay, I found it. It was under the loco and it looks like that, okay. Right, and it is a fine thread which has to get connected to that hex nut in the bottom. So this is going to be fun. I'm going to have to push that through, hold the nut on the underside, and at the same time grab a screwdriver and screw it while I hold it, kind of deal. Let's give that a shot. Yes, it's working. Lovely. So we can take this over to the track and make sure it's working so far. As with all new decoders, it should be address loco number 3. Enter. And let's see if we have a bit of power. And don't worry if it goes backwards when it's supposed to go forwards. Oh, and off he goes. And reverse. And reverse again. Lovely. Don't worry, I can change all the settings to make it nice and smooth, but so far everything is going to plan, which is shocking. Okay, back to the bench. Before I move on to the next wires, I do want to tidy up these ones. If you see this one coming from the pickup, it's just dangerously close to that wheel. And I also don't want it foul in this section here where the body comes over. So I'm going to tuck that under there and then just put a tiny dribble of hot glue onto the wire to hold it roughly there. Again, I don't really want it on the inside of the wheel like that because the wheel could rub against it and chaff it. So I'm going to carefully... Oh, this is going to be a wee bit tricky, but I think it'll be worth it. Because I also don't want it interrupting my flywheel. So yeah, roughly there. So just a dab of hot glue in there. Like so. Obviously I need to bring it up a wee bit. Because I do want that. And look at that, the wires come off. That's okay, I'm glad it did it now before I got it back in the track and was like, why is this not working? That wasn't my fault, that shouldn't have just fallen off. So obviously that needs to get soldered back on. Get rid of this hot glue, which is not working at the moment. I actually really like working with hot glue. You can either heat it up and peel it off, or just peel it off. This is going to be a wee bit tricky because I need to get in there to resolder this back on. The good thing is though, with this sort of soldering, it doesn't require a lot of heat and it doesn't require a lot of time. So let's get it in. Let's see, I do kind of want it at a particular angle. Yeah, like coming out there, so I'm just going to bend that a wee bit. And that's getting soldered in that corner there. I hope you can see that, because I can't. Just in there. I might have to take the motor out, because I'm really struggling here. If that just behaves, maybe get a wee bit more solder on my gun actually. That'll make life a wee bit easier. Okay, that little wire's back in. Okay, attempt number 2 with the hot glue. In the right spot, right there. This is quite fiddly. I kind of want it exactly there. So what we'll do is I'll get the glue on and then I'll just pull the wire up that way a little bit while it's setting. At least that's the plan. Right there. A little bit of hot glue in the wheel. Get rid of that while I remember. Okay, now you can see what I've done there. That little wire, it's got a nice little space there. It's not going to intrude onto the wheel or the flywheel. Okay, let me do the same with the other side. Okay, both those wires are now glued down, tucked out the way of the wheels, not going to interfere. Also just tuck the wires underneath the motor there and put a wee bit of glue down there. Well, a huge amount of glue, but that's okay. It's not going to interfere with the shell, I don't think. I'll make sure. Maybe went a wee bit mad with the glue there. Easy enough to scrape some of that off. That'll do. Shell will get in there okay. So now we can move on to the headlight. Really, that's the last part of this particular job. The next bit will obviously be these 2 black wires going to the tender, but we can rebuild the loco once we get our headlight on. So there's a little bulb. As I mentioned, it doesn't actually matter which way round we go. Let's get these tinned up. These are going to need a bit of shrink wrap. Shrink wrap? Heat shrink. Shrink wrap's what my wife wraps my sandwiches in. He lies, I make my own sandwiches. Tin that, tin that. Probably trim them down a bit, those are excessively large. should be fine. Okay, how are we going to do this? All we really need is the blue and the white heading to the front. And hopefully it's not going to interfere with anything. Blue and the white, come on. Oh, for goodness sake. Right, so the blue and the white has to go all the way down. Glue. Down to here. Should be fine. And then the light's going to get attached to those wires. So I reckon if we kind of keep this sort of taut, and with the aid of more glue, if we glue that down there, it should keep it above the flywheel. As long as the shell isn't pushing down on that. I don't think so. There should be enough clearance there. So I think that's what I'll do. Keep that tight. Get some glue in there. And hope that that's enough to keep it away from everything that's moving. Tum-ti-tum. I can't let it go until the glue's set. Lovely. Not convinced that that's going to be enough of a gap. That should be okay. As long as nothing's pushing down, then that should be fine. Okay, so now obviously we need to connect our front bulb to those two wires. Should have tidied these up first. Oh well. Let's trim that one down so it's the same size, shall we? Then you and your little friend. Another bit of heat shrink. Again, they're a wee bit too long, so they can get chopped in half. This is going to be fiddly, so I'll be using my little crocodile clippy thing. Find some very small heat shrink. Two sections of that. One down there. One down. And finally, your little friend. And I forgot to put the heat shrink tubing on. And your friend. I'll edit that bit. And that should be that, other than getting the shell on. Let's just snip that little yellow wire, not too short. We might use it in the future, but at the moment it's just going to get in the way. I'll leave enough room there so that we can actually use it if we need to in the future. So those two wires are going to be going to the tender. They can probably get tucked down there. Headlight obviously is going in its nose, but first let's do another check. Final check before we put the shell on. Make sure the light's working in the right direction. Right, we're back on the track. We will be looking for that little bulb lighting up when I press that button there now. Yes. Forward. And change direction. It should go off. Lovely. And on. And off. And on. You get the idea. Okay, now the tricky bit. Get the shell back on. Right, I hope you were paying attention. There will be a test at the end. So this bulb wire has to get poked through this hole, and these tender wires have to get poked through, yeah, there seems to be a gap down there, if you can see that. So those two black wires have to get through there. I have marked the right wire with a red pen. I don't know if you can see it. I can see it. So that I know which way round to wire up the tender. Because remember, they're both black, but that's on purpose so that they don't look silly. Alright, let's see if we can get this in without wrecking everything. So that weight has to slide back. Come on, you were back a second ago. What is going on here? Okay, so that gap there, the weight had to slide back for some reason. Poke you through there. At the same time, poke these two wires, one through there, and your little friend also, if there's room, beside you. Come on. Are you through? I can't tell if that's poking through or not. Let me get the tweezers. I don't want to move my left hand in case I lose the front bulb. Let's see if he's through. Oh, he is, I can just see him. I'm just going to grab him. Oh, this is a bit awkward. Right, so that's the tender wires through. This should all just magically slot in place. Need to be careful I don't foul up the front bulb wire. Wow, this is a bit fiddlesome. Make sure none of my new wires are getting caught in anything. There's really not a lot of room inside here. Oh, look at that. We're in. We are in. How about the front? Are you in? Yes, I believe the front is also in. Let's get a screw in before it changes its mind. So there was two screws at the back, and there's two that look the same, so let's try them. One in there. And your little friend. I need to stop saying that. People are going to start worrying about me. Me and my little friends in the basement. That's the back end. Let's see if we can have the same luck at the front. That was the big screw, wasn't it? Oh, did I have the washer? Because I've got two of these, and one of them's got a washer. Let me try and remember. I'm trying to see if there's, yeah, there was a washer in that one because I can see the outline of a washer there. However, I don't actually know where the other big screw goes. I've forgotten already. That's worrying. Was it for, no? Oh, let me check the video. Back in a sec. Actually, as soon as I turned it over, I realised the other screw goes in that weight at the top, doesn't it? Although it does need the weight to line up a bit better. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, as I was, get that front one in. But I'm not going to tighten it right up because, as I say, it does have to line up with the screw at the top, and that is the weight. So if I tighten this right up, it's not going to move. Oh, stupid magnetic screws. That's not all the way tight yet, because I need to get this one lined up. Now, I know that looked as if the screw was going in at an angle, and you were probably right, but it went in, even if it did make its own thread. Okay, we're almost there. We just have this nosy bit to go on, although this section here did fall off. And I'm not altogether sure how that fitted. I think it was hidden. Oh, goodness. It was behind those little railings. And in... Well, I think those railings actually go on the bottom of them. That's going to be awkward. Oh dear. Okay. Need to take my time with this. So that section clips in there, I believe. Ah, okay, so that goes in there. Hopefully I'll be able to... I can't put them in now anyway, because remember, these railings need to go through the nose. Okay, how does this work? So it has to go that way. Bulb bends towards it, I'm guessing, like that, and it gets... Oh, this is not nice. Bulb pointing towards the lens at the front and the nose, and then the wire clips down in that little gap, like so. Yeah, that'll work. And we need to get the nose in, but it does need to go through those tiny little handrails first. Oh, this is awkward. Yeah, that was horrible. Then we need to get these little bits in the tiny little... Oh my goodness. Oh goodness, I got it. Let's get the other one in, hopefully. Like so. And then push our little nose home. Clip there. Come on, clip at the bottom. Finish me off. I mean, well, finish the job off. Oh, it's not straight. That's why it's not clipping in. You rotate it just, you see there, it's just not quite straight. It needs to rotate just a smidge. Just, there's something, no, it's probably the back of the bulb is pushing it out. So what I'll probably do is put a tiny bit of glue in there. Just a tiny bit. I don't want anything too permanent. But for now, that's that section done. Who wants to see it going round the track, or do you want to wait for the tender? Oh, you want to wait, so we'll go on with the tender next. I'm going to check it though, and I'm going to make sure it works. Okay, that works. Don't worry, you'll see it at the end. Now we need to get this tender attached. So I think I am just going to remove this plug completely. If I'm not using the other side, then what's the point? I might as well just run the wires all the way through, right? I think I need to desolder these. Only because I think that's what's keeping the plug in. Otherwise I would have just snipped them. Plug out. Almost. Needs a bit of encouragement. A bit more melting to do. Like so. So that probably means I could poke the wires through those little holes. I've left enough room here to play with. Right, let's see then. You poke yourself through there. Maybe not. I might need to make them a bit bigger. Yep, let me make them a bit bigger. Could probably use a... I don't think I've got a drill small enough anyway, so... Tweezers. I've got some fairly sharp tweezers I can use. Although if I'm only using one side of the tweezers, does that mean I'm using a tweezer? Anyway, let's see if we can... Oh, that's very small, that little hole. This might not work. Well, that side's okay. Not sure why this one's misbehaving. Oh, look at that, it's coming through the bottom. Even better. So, do we even need it? Nah, we don't need it. It's just extra weight. Although, sometimes you want extra weight, don't you? Okay, so that means then that this can just... Yeah, this can just get wired up there. There's a gap there that the wires can go through now. You're not going to see it once it's all attached anyway. So that's my red one. That is to go on this side here. So let us do that then. He's going to get soldered to that one. Let's just tidy that up a wee bit. Tin that one and that one. Find myself my heat shrink again. I need to invest in some extra fine heat shrink because these ones are a bit fat. Get you down there. Let's see, get you on my little crocodile clip. Get you joined together in Holy Train Manoni. That was poor. One down. Heat shrink. Shrunk. And the other one. I'm just double checking. You know what? I think that's the wrong way around. After all that, I think this one is lying to me. This wire here, although it's kind of on this side, it's actually the other side. Judging by the The isolators are there, which means it's picking up power from that one. Oh, so that means, wait a minute. That's the wrong way round. Oh, that's annoying. All right, snip that off. So that means that the red one is to go to this one. Double check again. So this pickup is for the far rail without the insulators. And that's the right rail. Okay, good. Right, let's get the last wire connected. The dog is going mental because my lovely wife is home from work, which means I need to finish up, go and make some dinner. One final piece of heat shrink down there. Solder you together. It's a wee bit long. Join you. Last piece of heat shrink. Oh, it's getting exciting. We're almost done. Lovely. Now we just need to get our tender cover back on. How many screws have I got? 2 screws left. That's the right amount. I'll get the... let's see. No, I'm not going to put that. I'm not going to join it on quite yet, in case there's any finagling to be done. Yep, that goes down there. Those wires are going through that little gap. What is missing? Oh yeah, the ladders at the front like to poke through. Let's see, I wonder if it needs to go in this way first. Yes, it does. So it goes in like that. There's a big screw that goes in there, small screw at the back. Ladders can get poked in their wee holes later. So, small screw, front. Big screw, middle. That's together. We can put that in there, get our little rubbery thing, rubber pipe hose, push that up to join it, and my friends, we're done. At least I hope we're done. Let's take it to the track and find out. Right, let's see if I've got my wires round the right way for the first time in my life. Let's start with the headlight. That works. Give it some power, see what happens. Bit of a hum, but that's probably just the decoder. And off he goes, or she goes. I don't know if there's a sex when it comes to trains. I cleaned all the wheels as well, just to give it a fighting chance. And so far, everything is looking lovely. I am very happy with that. I'll just do one more test, which is the change of direction. Should slow down gradually and auto reverse. Oop, not that gradually. Need some settings changed, but I'll let the new owner take care of that. And off it goes reverse, change the direction again. Headlight will come back on, yeah, and forward. And bring it to a nice gentle stop, shall we? Awesome. So who is the new owner of this Bullet Nose Betty? Well, this is someone who I was very surprised to learn that he doesn't actually have a Bullet Nose Betty, despite having lots of coaches, 2 of which he gave to me. James gave me this, which I think is an observation car, and this, which I think is a postal car or a baggage car. And as you can see, they just complete my set fantastically. But James has got tons of those coaches, but he didn't have the Steam logo for some reason. I did offer him the Bullet Nose Betty the other day, but he only runs DCC, so I took it away again. It's now got a DCC decoder in it. We're good to go. So hopefully he'll like that. Right, I will do a victory lap with my new coaches, my existing coaches, and I'll see you in the next one. And hopefully you'll see Bullet Nose Betty flying around James's new track. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.